Hey guys, welcome back to Adventure Camping. Tactical Nut here, and yes, we're back out camping again. And yes, as you can probably tell, I have injured my hand. Last Friday, I guess about 7-8 days ago now, I tripped and fell into the fire pit in my backyard, burning pretty badly the back of my hand and the sides of my fingers. It's healing pretty good now, but I do have a couple of spots on each side of these two fingers that is really deep and raw. But I figured this was a good opportunity to get outside and see if I could do this one-handed. I do process firewood. I do some things offhanded on occasion, but not any real length of time or dedication to it. So I figured this would be a great opportunity. Sorry, it is really windy out here today, so hopefully you'll still be able to hear me. So yeah, I thought this was a good training opportunity for myself to just see if I could do this with my offhand. I mean, I'm gonna have to hang my hammock and my tarp, process wood. I, have my saw, have the cold steel Warhawk to chop with if I need to. So we're gonna see how that goes. Hopefully it'll work out well. It's supposed to get fairly cold tonight, so I do have something new to test out. This is a sleeping pad cover that I got in my one of my Karen box subscriptions by Climate. It says it's supposed to add about 10 degrees of warmth, so I'm gonna put this over my sleeping pad. And in case you haven't seen the review, the X-Lounger sleeping pad, put this over it in my sleeping bag and hopefully stay warm and toasty. All right guys, I need to get moving on the firewood just because I know it's probably going to take a lot longer than normal. So I want to get that out of the way and then possibly do some hiking, just depending on how much time we have. And yeah, stick around. Hopefully you'll enjoy it and maybe learn a little something. And we're also going to be covering on how to field dress a wound while you're in the outdoors and how to take care of it, especially in case this happens to you while you're in the outdoors. And yeah, so stay around, maybe learn a little something and have some fun. How you doing? normally takes like 5 minutes. Not being able to use these two fingers sucks. Yay. If I could not use these two fingers at all, I would have to say this would have been a extraordinarily difficult task. I would have literally had to have thought of a different type of shelter to use. Just because, you know, trying to tie stuff up above your head is just a lot more difficult than you'd think when you're using your off hand and only 2 fingers or 3 fingers of your dominant hand. But it's up, it's working. I got the end twisted up there a little bit, but I don't want to retie it. That sucks. It's still going to work. Yeah, let me go get some firewood. Alright, so went out and found me a log. Cut it. Realized I forgot to bring the camera with me. But for the first attempt at sawing, with just the left hand, I gotta say, yeah, it's gonna take longer than you think, but just kind of give you an idea of what that looks like. I'm hoping this is big enough to last for the whole evening. This also will show you when or why having the right tools, or just good tools in general, really come in handy. Even though I'm not as coordinated with my left hand, the saw can do the work so well that it almost doesn't matter. It's just going to be slow. Come on. Yippee! I gotta do that like 10 more times. And it gets thicker as it goes. We'll say that I was impressed at how quickly it got through the thicker end of this log. So I was kind of nervous that it was going to be rotten and I wasn't going to be able to use it. And I wanted something much thicker than I normally use so I don't have to cut as much. And I definitely won't have to be walking around the woods at 2 o'clock in the morning to get more. That way, see if this helps. Just trying to keep that hand away so I don't get any dirtier than I have to. And I hope this stuff burns well. Missed the knot. Just going to try to experiment with a different way, a couple of different ways of doing this. Arm ain't used to this. Whew. Oh. Don't want to do that. right. So I think the key here is don't get injured. And you won't have to do things the hard way. Or the more exhausting way, I should say. Of course, after this, just to decide what to split or not. All right. After this one, I won't bore you with anymore. Oh. But kind of feel like it might be a good idea to show you how much more difficult it can be when injured and in the woods. Try this again. Not too much further to go. All right. It's working. Obviously, you're just gonna have to plan on taking more time than you normally would. So far, it's doable. All right, I'll come. All right, so got it all cut. Woo. You can see how thick some of that was on either end. Now, I don't think I really need to split any of this, but just for the sake of this video and trying to accomplish things one-handed, figured I'll give it a try. If it doesn't work, well, you might not see it in the video. Depends on how goofy I look. Come on. This out. All right. Let's try this again. Just can't put as much force into it as I'm used to. And I definitely feel like my aim, I'm not confident with the aim. Got that big knot right there. Let's see if I can try the other side. Whew. I'm gonna stand it. There's something I could use. Small. This will work. Maybe not. Flat piece. gotta do it on the ground. Oh, I don't want to stand. Let's try another piece. One without a whole bunch of knots in it. Does have a nice long bend in it though. Straighter would be better. Stand back now. Woo! Now we're close. Don't do that. Well, let's try. We do it flat. All right, we're gonna try splitting. I just tried multiple attempts at it standing up, and that was not working at all. So let's try it this way and see if this will help get the job done. Or just knock chunks off. It's the problem with the left hand. It's just not as accurate. Or obviously have as much force. Probably a smaller, thinner piece would be better, but we'll see. Last attempt. You really need two hands. At least it's a lot more helpful. Ah. All right, that didn't work. At least not enough to put the time and the energy into trying. But when if you use the upside down fire like I do a lot now, you really don't need to split any wood unless you just had a huge log that you can't sit down. All of these should be fine because if I use enough smalls and layer it right, should be able to get that burning and then just put the really thick ones on after it's been going for a while. So I think we're just going to stick with that since splitting was a fail. Oh well, at least you know, right? Or at least I know for myself. Alright, so for my next trick, we're going to try and feather stick one-handed. Hopefully you'll be able to tell pretty well. I got two different size knives. I got the Kislar Supreme Pioneer, and if you can't tell, yes, a branch caught my bandage and ripped it off. So I'm definitely be doing this one-handed. And the Clyde Challenor Custom MK2. I'll start with the larger knife first because it just seems like that would be naturally easier to do. So let's give it a shot. Wow, this feels so unnatural. Come on. Definitely have to go a whole lot slower. I guess if you had a shorter stick, you could do it with your knee. Try to put this into my belt. Definitely not good to, there we go. Don't want to aim a knife in case it slips to your femoral artery. Ah. Boy, this feels about as unnatural as it gets. Now I'm getting down to the wood, actually. Whew. I'd say after getting done with all the wood, this hand and arm are both getting really tight. It's hard to keep the angle right. Boy, if you haven't tried this, I am just butchering this, but it's kind of getting done. Whew. I know you're probably sitting there thinking, this shouldn't be that hard. But keeping the right angle is difficult, and then of course just the fatigue in my hand from all the sawing. I'll show you the all right. Whew. That is ugly, but it's starting to get the job done. Obviously, if you had to, you could just take a break, and depending on how critical your situation is. Definitely a challenge. Let's try. And if this makes you squeamish, because I'm gonna clean this in just a few minutes and change the bandages because the wind is really starting to make it sting. Yeah, there you go. Not awesome. Yeah, and I need to, well, I also want to bandage it back up just so I don't get anything in it, get any dirt in it. All right, let's try this again. In my belt. There we go. It's really starting to sting. Whew. Hot or hot. Ow. Man. Trying to hold my hand up. If I hold it down, it makes it throb. Whew. This one seems to be a little bit easier. If I stuck with it a little bit longer, I could definitely get more. I don't need it for this type of fire. I just wanted to experiment with it. But this, you definitely get more leverage and more control out of one this size. I still love this knife. I actually already filmed the review. I just haven't posted it yet, so stay tuned for that. I love this one too. And of course, you know this is my favorite. This is my little baby. Now, whew, I'm gonna rest my hands up and get my first aid kit, and then do some cleaning of this wound. All Alright, so in case anyone is curious, my sleep system this evening, I have the One Tigress underquilt. Let me walk around to the other side. Probably be a little dark. But I have the Climate sheet over the X-Lounger sleeping pad and the X-Lounger pillow. This material feels really good. So if nothing else, at least it should be, if it doesn't keep me extra warm, it should at least be extra comfortable. And maybe cut down on some of the crinkliness of the sleeping pad. Now, as always, El Cheapo $7 tarp from Target. Is anyone else tired of seeing this same blue tarp trip after trip? I am. I think it's time to actually get something new. Step it up a little bit. I mean, I've liked it. It works. It does everything I need it to do. It's just bright blue, which is easy to see when you're wandering from the campsite in order to find more firewood and stuff. Especially at night when you're coming back, even with lights, it really stands out. But kind of thinking something a little more me should be in order. In just a few minutes, it's about what, 4:30 now, so not a few minutes, but maybe about an hour. I am going to do fire starting with one hand. I am using the Pine Fire Tot and a little disc of fat wood that was in the bag. I'm going to first try to use the knife to strike the fire still, the 4 Directions bushcraft one. I mean, this has got a really sharp spine. It does really well at throwing sparks, but I've never tried it left-handed. So if that's unsuccessful, at least I have the high-speed striker one that I can use as a backup. But there's all the wood that I cut before. There is 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of thicker logs, and then of course a lot of the smalls, and then of course I have some of those bigger ones to help get through the rest of the evening. Hopefully that's all I'll really need. And of course the Cold Steel Warhawk, I was trying with that to do some splitting. I mean, it normally cuts really well, but trying to do it left-handed, that just wasn't working. If you haven't ever done it left-handed and you're not left-handed or just off-handed in general, yeah, give it a shot. A lot harder than it looks. At least I'm getting kind of rested up now. I'm going to eat just a little bit and then just kind of kick back and relax. I didn't do any hiking. And just to give you an idea of how much longer it takes to just set up camp and process firewood, I got here at like noon and probably just got done with all the wood like 45 minutes ago. I mean, of course, that's also going out and finding it and all that kind of stuff. But sawing that many pieces left-handed, not that great. Oh, of course, and I had to rebandage. I'm gonna do that in a separate video because that ended up taking about 10 minutes. So stay tuned for that. I'll probably release it right after the camping video. All right, guys, I'm just gonna kick back and relax a little bit. It's supposed to get kind of cold tonight, about 30, 32, I think. So definitely gonna have to get changed for sleeping and all that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna wait till right before I'm gonna go to bed for that. All right, guys, check back in with you when it's fire time. All right, guys, this morning I've already started the packing up process. Slept really good last night. I mean, really hard, really warm. The only problem was about 4 in the morning it started raining, you know, because there was 0% chance of rain, so of course it rained. So I had to get up and put my packs and stuff under the tarp so everything wouldn't get completely soaked. But other than that, man, I slept like a rock. Was testing out the UCO headlamp last night. I got this in one of my Karen boxes. Fantastic little light, so stay tuned for the review on that. Just wanted to show you, I picked this up. It's a 511 covert satchel. I've got a couple other 511 packs in the car that I picked up yesterday. About to do a review on this one. It's the Rupump Pack tactical backpack. It's almost identical to the Rothko that I had, but that I have, but definitely improved, I would say. Other than that, guys, I'm gonna get packed up. It is cold. My hand is hurting like crazy because the bandage came off in the middle of the night, so I need to rewrap it up. But I'm gonna take everything down first because it'll just be a little easier, even though it might be a little more painful. But had a great time. I think this is one of the first times I've ever been out here and didn't do any hiking, because just everything else took so long. I didn't really have a choice, but I still enjoyed it. It was definitely a learning experience. A lot of fails, a lot of well, I won't say complete fails. It's just things were just so uncomfortable. Starting the fire one-handed, that didn't work, but I'm gonna keep working on that one. All right, guys. Oh, and the new toboggan, 100% wool. I told you, switching everything to wool that I possibly can. My thermals, wool, and really warm and comfortable. Just a little recommendation for you. This is definitely warmer than any other toboggan, either the fleece or the cotton ones that I've ever had. So definitely recommend it. Got it at Jasmine's Military Shop. Jasmine's Military Shop. The other 511 stuff I got, I'm gonna do a unboxing kind of video with that stuff. All got that from Jasmine's Military Shop, so definitely check her out. She is now an authorized 511 dealer, which is awesome because they make some killer gear. All right, guys, in the meantime, be prepared and have fun.